politics, ultimately, it never ends well for pretty much everybody. And you sort of got to accept that. And so I did, and decided to then, oh, well, okay, we're done.
And yet, Scott, for you, the post-election period was a tough one, wasn't it? You described it as having what you observed as, in Aussie terms, a pile-on, which you said was graceless, brutal, and it hurt.
It did.
Tell us about that.
Well, that's all true. I mean, for most prime ministers, regardless of their record in government, there is a sense of, oh, well, they're done. The caravan moves on. But in this case, unfortunately, and I hope this isn't the case going forward, there did seem to be quite an enthusiasm to do the whole dead, buried and cremated thing, to really grind us, and me in particular, into the dust. And that went on for some time. And that was very difficult.
Why do you think that was the case?
2019, in many people's view, was not supposed to happen. And they never wanted to see it ever happen again. So I suppose they wanted to really make sure they'd finished with me.
You were surprised by it though, weren't you? Because you said you expected the political caravan to move on.
Yeah, I was surprised. I was surprised that there was that level of continued attention after the result. I mean, I'd accepted the defeat. I'd handed over the leadership. I'd moved to the backbench. I was not engaging in public life, really. I was here locally, but outside of that, I wasn't contesting the political space. I thought I was sending very clear messages that, okay, I won one, I lost one, see ya.
So why did you stay silent? Well, I mean, more or less silent.
Well, I'd always intended that once I'd had once I'd finished my time as Prime Minister, that's when you have your opportunity to do things. Once you leave, well, it's up to others now. And I've decided that I would be someone who would just move on with my life. And there were many other things in my life. My life wasn't completely consumed by politics or the role. I never saw the role as defining who I was as a human being or as an individual. It was an important part of what I got to do. But as I write in the book, I don't see my identity anchored in being that person.
And yet you said at that time, during the so-called pile-on, you were angry at God. Tell us about that.
Did I use that exact word?
Yeah, I think so.
I think it was more an expression of sentiment.
You then said you found his answer in your spirit.
Yeah, I did. So one of the things, and the thing I learnt about Job, is Job got angry at God. But you don't get angry at someone you don't think exists. And the thing about Job was, as frustrating as he found his awful experience, he never lost sight of who God was and who God was to him. And I was a bit the same.
Well, what about a different word, forgiveness? You talk about that, and you said one thing. You said you're working through your forgiveness lists.
Yeah, I am.
Quote, I am working on it. Is it a long list?
No, I wouldn't say, as I joke, I think the list of those who need to forgive me is probably longer. But, that's the nature of politics. It's a bit like playing State of Origin and not expecting to get bruised. That's what it's like. Yeah. So you can't walk off the field going, I got a bit of a poke in the eye, or that shot was a bit hard or a bit high or whatever. It is a highly competitive, there's a lot at stake. So, I've always tried to be a bit philosophical about that and to give people a bit of a wide berth on things.
Well, let's walk onto the field. About coming to leadership, you said on the morning of the actual vote, my staff is up and I'm walking to the sea. What did you mean?
What I meant was that I was just prepared to put it all out there. Whatever happened next was up to him. And that's not to say he delivered the result. That's not what I mean. It meant this is how my faith life has always worked. Step up and see what happens. And so I was prepared to step up. Now,
you were praying that week as
well? Of course. Yeah, I pray every day, all the time. And so if that meant I lost, I would have gone, well, okay. Like when I lost the pre-selection the first time. Okay. The journey's going to go this way now. So I think that's another thing that sometimes people misunderstand, particularly about evangelical Christians in politics, is they sort of think that's, oh, well, God's done this and then this and this and this. No, that's just not true.
Yeah.
It's events will take their course, and perhaps they'll go that way.
Yeah.
Perhaps they'll go that way. The point is just trusting and faithfully walking and staying in fellowship with God and just living out your faith on a day-to-day basis. So it's not about being the member for wherever, or the minister for, or the prime minister, or it's not about being in those offices any more than it's about anything else you do. It's about how you live your life of faith in all of those things and in the journey you're on.